Which US military branch is the toughest, weirdest, or maybe just the flashiest flex machine? From cake traditions to space wars, the lineup is wilder than you think. So let's dive right in.
Army. The Army is the oldest branch of the U.S. military, since it has its roots in the Continental Army, which was formed on the 14th of June, 1775, to fight against the British for independence during the American Revolutionary War. Right after the Revolutionary War, the Continental Army was disbanded and the U.S. Army was created on the 3rd of June, 1784. It's the land service branch, and its purposes are to protect U.S. land and support national policies. It's also the largest branch in the U.S., with around 1 million soldiers, even though it's one of the strictest ones and needs 10 weeks of basic training. The Army is currently divided into 3 components: the regular Army, the Army Reserve, and the Army National Guard. The regular Army is the full-time component of the Army, where soldiers serve as their primary occupation, and they are the most readily available force for immediate response to any global crisis or military requirement. The Army Reserve and National Guard offer soldiers the opportunity to serve part-time while maintaining a civilian career, and they typically focus more on support roles and specialties such as medical, legal, engineering, and logistics.
The 3-component setup is kind of like the Army's own Netflix subscription plan: basic, premium, and weekend warrior. The regular Army's always on call, while the Reserve and Guard moonlight as doctors, engineers, or lawyers. Wild to think the world's biggest land force can also double as your neighborhood dentist.
Navy. The U.S. Navy is the most powerful in the world and the largest by tonnage at 4.5 million tons in 2021. It's the 3rd largest of the United States military service branches in terms of personnel, with around 350,000 soldiers. The Navy is the 2nd oldest branch in the U.S. military, with its predecessor, the Continental Navy, being created just 4 months after the Continental Army, and it had great contributions in the American Civil War by blockading the Confederacy and in World War II by defeating Imperial Japan. Its mission is to recruit, train, equip, and organized to deliver combat-ready naval forces to win conflicts and wars while maintaining security and deterrence through sustained forward presence. The last part is especially important nowadays, since it's one of the most used branches for deterrence and instigating fear in the enemy, for example by sending aircraft carriers near their territories. Just like the Army, you also need 10 weeks of basic training to join them.
The Navy basically invented the art of showing up to scare people. Sending an aircraft carrier near your coast is like parking a monster truck on someone's lawn. It's not subtle. Crazy that it started as the Continental Navy, now it's a 4.5 million ton flex machine patrolling the world's oceans.
Air Force. The Air Force was originally created as a part of the U.S. Army branch in 1907, but it became its own branch in 1947, making it the 2nd youngest branch. Its priorities consist of asserting air dominance and providing intelligence, such as reconnaissance, target acquisition, etc. It offers huge help to land troops, both assuring that they're not attacked by enemy air forces and attacking enemy land troops or strategic positions. For this reason, it's the most funded branch in the U.S. military, with $216 billion, and some say it has the best locations, facilities, and quality of life, calling it the Chair Force. The Air Force also operates in cyberspace, offering cyber defense to U.S. networks and potentially attacking enemy ones. You need 8.5 weeks of basic training to get into it, and the culture is focused on pilots, seeing them as the main component of the branch, while all the other positions are seen as support for them.
The Air Force is basically the spoiled youngest sibling, born in 1947, instantly showered with $216 billion, and nicknamed the Chair Force for its comfy lifestyle. Still, it's not just about pilots. They run cyberspace ops too. Imagine fighting wars with both jets and Wi-Fi passwords. That's modern dominance.
Marine Corps. The Marine Corps is organized under the Department of the Navy, and it's considered to be one of the most respected and cohesive branches in the military. Its motto is Semper Fidelis, which means always faithful in Latin, and its traditions reinforce their camaraderie, such as the Marine Corps birthday, celebrated every year on the 10th of November, where the first slice of cake is given to the oldest Marine present, who in turn hands it off to the youngest Marine present. They focus on tip-of-the-spear invasions, amphibious warfare, and they're one of the quickest reaction forces, guarding most U.S. embassies around the world. Their basic training is considered to be one of the hardest and longest ones, with 13 weeks needed, and they're known to have a culture of obedience. Some say they have a historical competitive relationship with the Army for funding and missions, since some of their capabilities overlap.
The Marines really said, why not make boot camp extra painful? 13 weeks of pure grind. Their cake tradition is oddly wholesome though, oldest to youngest, like some hardcore family reunion, always stuck in a rivalry with the Army, but let's be honest, a tip of the spear sounds way cooler than regular land service.
Coast Guard. The Coast Guard does maritime law enforcement missions, with jurisdiction in both domestic and international waters. Just like the Navy, its personnel are assigned all over the world, and forces routinely deploy to both littoral and blue water regions. It also saves people's lives in water, intervenes in natural disasters like tsunamis, and intercepts illegal migrations and drugs. During peacetime, the Coast Guard operates under the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, while in wartime, it can be transferred in whole or in part to the U.S. Department of the Navy by order of the President or by act of Congress. Their basic training is 8 weeks long, making it one of the shortest ones.
The Coast Guard is like the Swiss Army knife of the military. Drug busts, rescues, disaster relief, even hurricane heroics. One minute it's saving your yacht, the next it's chasing smugglers. Funny twist, in peacetime they answer to Homeland Security, but in wartime they just get drafted into the Navy's squad.
Space Force. The Space Force is the youngest branch of the military, having been signed into law by President Trump in 2019. This makes them the first new independent military service since the Army Air Forces were reorganized as the U.S. Air Force in 1947. It's organized under the Department of the Air Force, and it's the smallest branch, with just around 8,600 military personnel and 77 spacecraft. It traces its roots to the beginning of the Cold War, with the first military space program starting in 1945, and they have participated in every conflict ever since, especially the Persian Gulf War, which is referred to by many as the First Space War. Its official mission is to provide freedom of operation for the United States in, from, and to space. They currently have the shortest basic training, 7.5 weeks. If you want to discuss this video or suggest an idea for the next one, join my Discord. Link in the description.
The Space Force may be tiny, just 8,600 people and 77 spacecraft, but it's basically humanity's first official Starfleet light. Born in 2019, it still feels like a meme, yet it's tackling real satellite warfare. Honestly, the fact they call the Gulf War the first space war makes it sound like a bad sci-fi reboot waiting to happen. The Paint Explainer did an amazing job with this video, and you'll find the link in the description. The next video, let's just say it's gonna look at something bigger than you expect. Stay nerdy.